into the area, and United don't get the corner because the referee sounds the final whistle. It has been a quite majestic City performance. They've had to do it the hard way in some ways. They've come from a goal behind, but that is really not the case. The Blues were absolutely outstanding today. Far too good for United. It was a matter of when and not if they were going to equalise. They did so through Phil Foden's stunning goal. They then made it 2-1 after a 1-2 between Alvarez and Foden, and then a dreadful mistake from Amrabat on the edge of the area, gifted it to Rodri. He slipped it into Haaland. Haaland applied the coup de grace, and the Blues have beaten the Reds once more here at the Etihad Stadium. They've clocked up more than 600 goals at the Etihad for Pep Guardiola, and they've extended their game of 55 games in a row when they've scored here at the Etihad. They've also extended their current unbeaten run to 19 matches, 17 wins and 2 draws, and they go to Anfield next Sunday, although of course they've still got the Champions League against Copenhagen midweek. But let's be focusing on the Premier League. They go to Anfield next Sunday, a point behind them, and with everything to play for. The final score, City 3, United 1. Well, let's go back to the studio. 2 former City captains, Keith Curle and Richard Dunne, and I'm sure a jubilant Cel Spellman.
Thank you so much to Alistair, man, and thank you to that man there, one of our own, the Stockport Iniesta. Phil Foden with a man-of-the-match display inspires a Manchester City 3-1 win. 1-0 down at half-time. 3 goals in the second half means we came back and secured those 3 points in true Manchester City fashion. It was an unbelievable performance. Arguments made at half-time to say City were very unlucky to be going in 1-0 down, but it didn't deter them. They came out, they stepped up and put 3 goals past our Manchester rivals to make us winning 3-1. That man there, though, absolutely unplayable. Listen, we usually come to the studio. Let's go pitch side right now. We can get a feel for the atmosphere and the sound and hear the thoughts of Michael Brown and FG.
Manchester is blue. League double, 18 points. The atmosphere in the Etihad was unbelievable. Michael Brown, 3-1.
I mean, that was right up there for one of the best games I've been at. You know, I know there's other days, but it was top level. They went behind a bit of adversity, that Rashford strike, which was sensational. Something to think about, but what about the energy? What about the way the boys played? Phil Foden hitting that. He had 2 or 3 efforts before it, and then Haaland finishing off. It was a brilliant display from everybody. And it was right throughout the team. The energy levels were just incredible.
Now, we'll come to Phil in a minute, which we have to, but there was a moment at 1-0 when Rashford went through on goal and Kyle Walker showed the reason he gets picked and is the captain and captaining.
He put the Jets on, didn't he? He put the Jets on straight away. Marcus Rashford knew he couldn't get it down quick enough. And then from then on, it was just like relentless pressure. I've just been looking at the stats with Ali on commentary, like 27 shots. I mean, it doesn't get any more one-sided than that, does it? Listen, Manchester United did a job. They sat there, they waited. I just seen that little one with a little hug with Pep Guardiola and Foden. Fantastic. But the place was rocking, wasn't it?
Well, the place still is rocking. We'll have a pan round and we'll show you. It's absolutely unbelievable here, isn't it, Brownie?
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? These celebrations on this particular day as well, against your local rivals, possession, everything, it doesn't matter really, does it? The domination was incredible. It was about coming in with 3 points at the end of this game, and that's what they got. And it was all around the pitch defensively. John Stones running in, this guy here coming in the picture, Kyle Walker, contributed, Edison, you know, at times everybody, but we're just seeing Phil Foden. It was just like unbelievable.
This man never looks tired either, right?
He's just having a little look, but it didn't get any better, did it? That weren't bad, was it? Well done, mate. The turbos are out, aren't they? Well done, mate. He just said, you know, just a little bit of a running, spectacular from Carl. Look,
spectacular from absolutely everyone. I'll give you a stat before we head back.
Is what, sorry?
I'll give you a stat before we head back.
Have you got one?
We're 18 points clear of Manchester United.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not bothered about Manchester United. I'm enjoying this today because beating your local rivals, a lot of these City fans, Phil Foden growing up, etc., didn't get these special days. Do you understand what I mean? But this, look at the disappointment there. The Manchester United players just walking off. They've realised now, psychologically, they can't come to the Etihad and get any sort of performance. So, wonderful, wonderful day of football at this. The title race is on, a big week of football as well.
It feels like a real good feel factor. Manchester's blue once again. Let's head back to the studio. I hope you guys are enjoying this.
Oh, I think we might be enjoying it, FG. Thank you to FG there and Michael Brown. And thank you to the fans here inside the Etihad Stadium, and of course all around the world. But the atmosphere in the stadium, particularly in that second half and at full time, I've not heard the Etihad like that in a long time. Thanks for joining us in the Matchday live studio alongside Keith Curle and Richard Dunne. I would also like to apologise live on air to Keith and Richard, who saw me in a real low point at half time. I don't like many people to see me in that, but my mood has changed, and wow, what a second half, Keith.
Yeah, I think probably take away the quality of the goal, the first goal of Phil Foden. Two things that stick out for me is discipline and belief in the way in what they're doing as a team, as a unit. Because it's a local derby, sometimes you can get caught up in the occasion, in the emotion of it, and you're that desperate to go forward. You take too many touches, you start going longer with your passes. They kept the belief, and they kept the focus, and they kept the discipline.
And also, I guess, looking now, as we know, in the business end of the season, we know how important this month is, you know, Anfield next week. How key is that, though, going to be, those two elements in particular, to make sure we try and go as far as we can in all competitions?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Look, every team now will be coming to the Etihad, and they'll be taking note and taking pointers from other teams that have come here and stifled City, and that will be their game plan. But it's one of those, as soon as the door opens and goals start, it's one of very difficult then for teams then to change their tactic within game, unless they have to change the personnel. And if you change the personnel, then that opens the game up, and that's what City need.
Well, talking of changing personnel, I feel there was a few key changes in the second half, which we'll come to in a little bit. But Richard, we were just saying, I mean, you can see how much it means to the fans, but gosh, going in at half-time to the players going now at full-time, it's going to be a complete contrast of emotions. And, you know, what will those celebrations like, and how will it galvanise us moving forward?
Oh, it's huge. The mood swing will have been massive. I mean, at half-time, the professionalism gets them through it, and it's a thing. It's about the game's not over. There's 45 minutes. We've done all right, but the relief at the end when you've stuck to your game plan, you've stuck to your own beliefs, and you've come out on the good side of a result like that, it's just amazing. I mean, it was a complete annihilation at times. They just couldn't get the ball off City. City were just knocking around, they were trying to get shots away. They were just so much more energy and enthusiasm just for football, to go and play a game of football. And it was such a well-deserved victory. And I mean, Haaland got one, he probably could have got three on another day. And it's brilliant for the confidence, I think, for the rest of the season. After Liverpool scoring the 99th minute yesterday and being down at half-time today, it's important for the group to win that game and really go into that game next week full of confidence. Full of confidence, and one man who will be going in with full of confidence, and my goodness, he was shining on that pitch. One of our own, Phil Foden, Keith, a scorer of the first two goals. Before we go into the goals, I just would like to focus on his performance. I mean, I just thought at times it was magical what he did out there, and really stepped up when we were looking for someone to try and make the difference.
Yeah, and again, I think it was a great touch from Pep, taking him off and letting him get the adulation from the supporters, and an opportunity for the supporters to show their appreciation and the belief that they've got in Phil. You have a look at him, like, the lad's a wizard. And he's effervescent, he's creative, and again, probably the biggest thing that I like about him is he plays without fear. Yeah. He plays, but with a discipline as well.
Yes.
He's got an understanding of each position that he's playing, whether he's in the middle, on the right, on the left. He's got an understanding of what's needed and what's required. And again, like the finish, we're lucky we've sat right behind it. Unbelievable.
I mean, speaking of the different positions, we've been loving, as all City fans have, seeing him in the middle a bit more this year and watching him fly, particularly when there's that low block. But he started out on the right, got one goal there, and then moved him over to the left and got his second goal there. I mean, it's obvious, but probably doesn't get enough credit for how he can impact the game wherever he is on the pitch. Yeah, it's a huge thing, because you sort of get into your flow on one side of the pitch. You know where the gaps are and where the spaces are and what the fullback doesn't like. So to then replicate that on the other side means you're concentrating on both sides of the game. You're looking at what your other Doku's doing at the first half. How can I get the better of Dallo? Well, I'll go outside him, or I'll come inside him, or do something different. And he's just
He's just a fantastic footballer. And when you look at like what Man City are trying to become and develop, and the values of a Man City player, he's a player that's come through the academy all the way through, and he is the ultimate star at Man City now because of the way he holds himself, because of, I mean, Anthony broke away there towards the end of the game and Foden ran 60 yards after him to take the ball off him and run back away again. It's just, that's what it takes to be the best in the world.
Yes.
And the difference between these two sides is massive.
Yeah, Keith, did you want to add to that as well?
No, I was just saying, agreeing that, like I say, the attitude of Phil Foden there, like I say, the running and the commitment to get back and make a tackle is one of those, something that a lot of people won't highlight in his game, but when you get people who've got a good understanding of the game, and it's not, doesn't need somebody to tell him to do it, it's a natural instinct. And again, when you've got that, you've got a chance of being a top player.
You have indeed. I mean, and as well, he's smashing his own personal records. I think he's now gone past goals scored in a season. He's affecting the game. I will say it right now, he needs his own song, I think. So that's the challenge between now and the end of the season, City fans. We need the Phil Foden song. Let's then look at the goals. So it's 1-0 at half-time. We start really well, and I mean, Richard, it was just a touch of class, wasn't it, with the finish from the right-hand side from Phil?
It was brilliant, and my first thought is, where does that go in the top 5 derby goals? That must be right up the top, I think.
So, I agree.
But it was, I think it's what City needed, because of the low block and how difficult it was to get around them or through them. It needed a good strike from the edge of the box, and a lot of them had been blocked in the first half, but he created the space for himself, and it's a beautiful shot, and the keeper's got no chance. And from then, I think people in the stadium started to believe. Even the players, when he ran off to the corner to celebrate, maybe 2 went with him. The rest of them went, got the ball and ran back to the halfway line because they wanted to go and get the next one.
Yeah, and then we started really pushing on him. And by the way, as well, remember, you get full match replays and highlights by this evening on the City website. That is a goal that you'll want to keep watching. Before, though, we get to the second goal, then there was a slight change which I felt really impacted the game. Julian Alvarez comes on, and we know how crucial he's been this season, but I did feel he brought a little something different. Why do you think that change just kind of seemed to give us an extra spark, do you think, Keith?
Again, I think some of the rotation as well, because that's, you've got the movement and the rotation, but the understanding of what's needed in that position, but also then the different qualities that players have. Because Kevin De Bruyne was spending times out on the left, out on the right, sometimes playing as an 8, sometimes playing as a 10. And again, it's there to distract the opposition, because they don't know who they're marking, and so then you go, right, now we need to just keep our shape. And when you're keeping their shape, and then it's that the bounce pass to draw people out. And again, I go back to Phil Foden, like his understanding within that front line, and also attacking that front line, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And is that just from training, do you think, as well, or natural ability?
No, I think it's gaining game understanding, because you're going to get good players, but they don't understand the game. You've got a City team now, or a City squad now, that are understanding of the game in different situations. Like, it's always said, well, we're going to be a team that keeps possession of the ball, but it's having direction with possession.
Yes. And
also then how you can create space and get people to exploit that space.
There was probably a stroke of genius then from Pep, because I think it was only a minute before Phil was on the right-hand side, Bernardo had gone to the left, and then he told them to swap sides, and then within a minute, it's another goal from Phil Foden. And I thought it was a really well-taken finish as well, Richard.
It was a brilliant goal, and trying to work out how far back it goes, because there was a 3v2 that they created down here with Rodri, Stones and Diaz against 2, and then, as Keith was saying, the ball's lashed into Alvarez. That's one touch set. Then he moves back in behind Mainu in midfield, and they're out again. It was 6 or 7 brilliant passes, but from very, very intelligent footballers.
Yes.
And then as it builds up, and there's more to it and all that, but then it drops into Foden, and the finish is just fantastic. As soon as he gets it and starts cutting inside, you just go, it's going to be in the corner, right in the corner, and the keeper just can't get down to it quick enough. And it's, yeah, I mean, at that moment, he was just on top of the world, just an unbelievable footballer.
He was gliding all over the pitch. And to point out as well that Unana was actually having a great game as well, you know, so we're not easy to get the ball past him at all in those 90 minutes. Alvarez with the assist there. Then, as we said, we were still imperious, Keith. 8 minute goes on the board, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a little bit of nerves there. I did just have a little moment and go, come on, City, see it through.
They've seen you, hand in head, down the ground.
But a couple minutes into the additional time, we could have had a hat-trick, as you said, Richard, but Erling Haaland finally gets his goal.
Yeah, and again, I think there was a period of time before that when the board's gone up, And if there's one team that can keep possession of the ball for 8 minutes, it's City. Yeah. And the first thing you think is, like, there's going to be another goal. We've got another chance of getting another goal, because you think, we're going to keep the ball. United to get anything out of the game, they're going to have to come out of that low block and they're going to have to press it. And then that opens up different opportunities. As it would, they'd be disappointed with the third goal. But Haaland, great finish again.
Lovely finish indeed. We were speaking before, obviously it was disappointing to go in at half-time, and we did speak about kind of, maybe it could have been nullified, but I then think for the rest of the game as a whole, Richard, I can't remember United, one testing the keeper, but really being in our half. So actually, as far as kind of dominating the opponents and not giving them the ball to score, was in full effect again today. Yeah, and that's why you can't let 1 or 2 goals throughout a season determine your system. I mean, yeah, there's chinks in it sometimes, you get caught out, but the beauty of it is the football that you see and the positioning of all the players, and it's just fantastic. I mean, United couldn't get out at all. No. They didn't have options. The keeper kicked one about 60, 70 yards to nobody, and that was just to give them a breather at the back. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how City play, and it's just complete domination today. It really is. Sorry, Keith.
No, I was just going to say, this one's probably more so for me mates, who I know they will get hold of this, but today, United were dominated in every aspect of the game. United were dominated by City today.
Yeah, suffocated.
I quite enjoyed saying that. Well.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought, well, can we be a bit more? I loved FG pointing out as well, 18 points difference now. So when you sing that song, Mind the Gap, Man United, it's quite a big gap. We touched upon it, Richard, though, as well. Obviously, we got Copenhagen in the week, 8 o'clock kickoff, match of the day live. We'll be there. But then it's the game at Anfield now. But this feels, with it being a derby, does it add an extra, I don't know, spring in the step and an extra kind of impetus to really kick on now?
Yeah, it's the important part of the season. And that's when all the big players step forward. City have a squad full of them, but City versus Liverpool is the biggest game in English football now. Coming the week after a derby, they're prepared for it, they know the atmosphere. They've got a European game in midweek, which a couple may get rested for. And yeah, bring it on, because it's two really, really good sides who want to play attacking football. So it's going to be unbelievable to watch. Yeah, it is always a joy to watch. We were chatting, weren't we, before the show this afternoon, Keith? I said I'd take a draw, which I still stand by. But you said actually on our day, no, you fancy us to go over there and win.
I think we will win. I think Liverpool are playing well. They've got confidence, they've got belief, they've got a few injuries, and they've got players coming in that haven't probably got the experience that's going to be needed in the ferocity of that game. But no, I'd be happy with going there and winning.
Absolutely, so would I. And a quick word on Copenhagen, sorry, Richard. Obviously, second part of the fixture, we've already been over there, but it'll be key just to business as usual and know the job that needs to be done here, and then hopefully maybe secure that result and can rest a few players, like you say. Yeah, you want to try and win the Champions League, so you've got to take care of each game individually. The first leg was a great performance, a really good result. And whoever the manager picks, it's going to be a strong enough team that he'll believe they can go and beat Copenhagen, because you don't want any slip-ups, any little taking your eye off the ball or anything like that. And I don't think this squad doesn't do it. They're always at every game. They're always up for it. So, yeah, the game on Wednesday night will be the first of a big week. Indeed. I guess as well, actually, getting that third goal later on in Copenhagen, massive really, just for a bit of breathing space and maybe the chance to rest a couple players possibly, Keith.
Yes and no. Again, I think because, as I say, City have been on this journey again, where getting to the crucial stage of the season, the end part of the season, where you can't switch off. Mm-hmm. But players don't want to switch off. You've got a change room full of players there that don't want to rest. Yeah. They want to play. Yeah. And again, that as a manager, as a coach, you want that. You want that competition. You want that hunger for people. They want to be involved. Like, again, they say it. They've been on this journey before and they've been successful. And again, there's going to be different sites that you see on this journey, but the mentality has got to remain the same. Win the next game. Yeah, and they've been there before. And I think Jolene said it as well. When you're winning games, you don't feel tired. No. So onwards we march. And I can wrap up this show by saying Manchester is well and truly blue once again, Man City fans around the world. So remember, we will be with you the middle of the week for the Copenhagen game, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. We're going to leave you with a little recap of what happened over there. Then, of course, we're going to be bringing you all the build-up to the massive game of the weekend against Liverpool in Anfield on Sunday. A massive thank you to
legends in the form of Richard Dunne and Keith Curle. And thank you to all of you for watching. And don't forget as well, since we're wrapping up on Derby Day, there's another one coming in a couple of weeks' time in the WSL. We welcome our women's team to the Etihad Stadium. It's on the international break as well. And we want you here. We want the Etihad full. So make sure you head onto the website to get your tickets there. And hopefully we're talking about, well, a double over Manchester United at the Etihad. Wouldn't that be nice? Manchester City 3, United 1, 18-point gap. I'll never tire of saying that. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Good night.
Well, a very warm welcome to the Parken Stadium. Copenhagen's last meaningful fixture was back in December. Indeed, it was that victory against Galatasaray that secured their place in the knockout stages. De Bruyne's into the penalty area. Oh, and he slipped it in the net. It looked like a crossing position, but not for KDB. And he's just slotted it beyond the goalkeeper into the corner of the net. Well, that's a dreadful ball by Edison, right to the edge of the area. And it was straight to Ellie. And can you believe it? Matson scored. It's 1-1. De Bruyne just gets away from one challenge, then loses it, breaks for Bernardo Silva, and he scored. It broke for Bernardo Silva after a bit of an error in the Copenhagen area, and Bernardo Silva just dinks it over the top of Grabara, and the Blues are back in front. Now Foden in the penalty area, De Bruyne, little ball back, Foden! There's the third. The City fans behind the goal who've made the trip have seen a City goal at their end. Pep Guardiola with two clenched fists says yes, that will do nicely. We make it 25 goal involvements this season now for Phil Foden. His fourth in the UEFA Champions League. It is a quite exceptional season that he's having.
They're a really difficult team, really one. That's why the third goal helped us a lot to manage a little bit better and more calm the game.